What it do, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having a good day. So I guess we could say that this is part 2 of the water truck adventures. We'll be going over this truck in a little bit greater detail today. We're going to go ahead and get it unloaded. Getting this thing home was actually easier than I thought it was going to be. Not that I'm complaining, but it was actually pretty uneventful. And it still amazes me that this truck fired up like instantly on the first try. But hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's go down, jump into it, and let's roll. So I'm thinking maybe you should move your Bronco just to play it on the safe side.
There.
Just in case.
There.
Yeah. Without getting too crazy, you want to get that tail close to the back. So if it does start moving, you can just
Gotcha. Well, my favorite thing of all of this is we have everything pointed directly at the fuel tanks.
You know.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
We're going to pretend they're empty.
Alright, we'll pretend that's empty, we'll pretend the truck has brakes.
Alright, now all that's left to do is
Reach out.
this.
Alright.
So I'm going to jump in there.
Don't forget about that block on the other side over there.
Oh yeah, that might help. The most it's ran. Just ran it for like 2 or 3 minutes at a time and shut it off.
Alright.
That sounds good.
It does.
I'm gonna find first gear, take it forward.
Okay.
So if something does happen, I'll be in gear and I'll be able just to like hit you back.
Gotcha.
Alright, let's do this.
There we go. Sounds good. Let me see. Yep. Well, you're right. One more time, one more time. All right, you're free. Good luck. Oh, okay. December of 95. December of 95 on the plate?
What?
December of 95 on that plate?
Yeah, 27.
10 would be 2005, 2015 would be 20.
27?
Yeah, 27 years.
Holy cow.
27 years.
It's still unbelievable.
Friggin' thing sounds great.
I don't know. I'm like waiting for something bad to happen. It's happened yet though.
How's that?
That's for the rear sprayer. It hooks up right here.
Gotcha.
I'm guessing the bolt's all out.
She feels a little, you know, she could be freed up a little bit there.
Well, what's weird, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's gonna be rusted, like solid on this, but these brake canisters, typically they go front to back, unless they're disc, like my heavy haul.
Right.
I didn't think disc brakes were around for air brakes, but I'm gonna have to open it up and see what's going on. I've never seen a style like that.
Huh. She's all fueled up. It looks enjoyable.
Not too bad. All right, well, huge step in the right direction. The truck is actually in the shop now. Big thanks to Ryan. He came over and helped me get it off the trailer. It's a two-person deal anytime this truck has to move. So I was actually in the truck and he was controlling the winch. And then once we actually got it on the ground, it's kind of a process to get it over here because this truck does not have power steering. So if the truck is not rolling, it's like a bear to turn. But I didn't want to get it rolling too fast because it doesn't have any brakes. So once we actually got it into the shop, Brian set some chocks in here because I do not even have a way to turn this truck off from inside the cab. Basically, once the chocks were in place, I got out of the truck, popped the hood, and then killed the engine manually. So the truck is in here. So from here, we can like start to pick things apart, figure out what's wrong with it. I got to crawl under there and see what size hoses there are. And I got to figure out how to get the air compressor working on this thing so that we can actually have brakes and drive this truck around. I was like super itching to put water in here, but I was like, if this truck starts rolling and I got like 1,000 gallons of water in here, there's no way I'm gonna be able to stop this thing. So let's go ahead and dive into this thing and see what we can figure out. All right, so right off the bat, coming up here to this big tank right here, you guys can see that there is an air hose right here. There's actually two of them and they are completely cut in half. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut a section of this off and take it with me. Let's see here. Oh, this is brittle. Woo. Ah. That's rough stuff. All right, so before I go ahead and crawl underneath the truck and start taking a look at it, I'm gonna go over a couple things. If you guys watched the video before this one, when I was like picking the truck up, I was super excited, but anytime I do something like that, I'm kind of in a rush. So we're gonna go through the truck. I'm gonna explain a couple things about it. This engine right here, I have always wanted a truck with this engine. This is what's called the Detroit 8V71. So basically what that means is there are 8 cylinders in the shape of a V. Then the 71 refers to each cylinder. Each cylinder has 71 cubic inches of displacement. So all in all, this is a 568 roughly cubic inch engine. So it's a pretty good size engine. And for what it is and for how old it is, it's actually pretty impressive. So it's not like the X15 Performance series that I have in the heavy haul, 605 horse and like over 2,000 pounds of torque. It's just a monster. So the specs for this engine are actually pretty impressive, especially for how old it is. I don't know them off the top of my head, so I'm gonna have to look at my phone, but it's a 318 horsepower engine and it produces 863 pounds of torque. So for the technology that was available back in the day, it really is pretty impressive. And it's got a pretty high compression ratio. It's 18.7 to 1, which that's pretty far up there. So I really don't know a whole lot about this engine. I've never touched one, I've never had one, and so for me this is like a big deal. I don't know that I'm gonna have to like dive into this thing anytime soon because of how good it's running, but you really don't see engines like this a whole lot anymore. Most diesels are turbocharged, most diesels are 4-stroke, and this is neither of those. This is a 2-stroke diesel, and if you guys look right here, this is the blower assembly tucked underneath all this stuff. And then I'm pretty sure it's gear driven. I think inside here it's gonna be like the front of the Cummins blocks where basically everything comes off the crankshaft. There's a bunch of gears that move everything. So I'm pretty sure it's gear driven, not chain driven. And then off the front right here, this is the only electrical thing on this entire truck. There's an alternator on here that runs the lights. And that is what's most interesting to me about this engine is that it is 100% mechanical. There is 0 electricity required to run this engine. So I love it. I think it's super cool. But I was talking to one of my other neighbors about it the other day and he's like super excited about it. He's a retired mechanic. He's like, I got all the tools to like fine tweak, adjust the fueling and all that stuff. So he's pretty excited about it. I'm sure he'll probably be coming over here at some point to like help me play with this thing. So I really don't know a whole lot about this engine, but after seeing how well it runs, I don't know that I'm gonna have to learn that much about it because it really does run super good. But if it does break down, I'm excited to learn about it because these are like a super unique engine. Let's go ahead and jump underneath the truck and then we'll take a gander at all the running gear underneath there. I've been looking for my lights that go underneath the trucks, but I can't find them, so we'll see how good the lighting is. All right, so that is the front of the truck, and then basically you have your transmission right here, and this is your PTO. When you engage this thing, this shaft starts spinning super fast. It spins this pump. So basically water comes out the bottom of the tank right here. It comes into this compressor housing and then it shoots water up this way and it's gonna go into a manifold, which I'll go ahead and show you guys. We have this big assembly of valves right here. And so basically there's some controls inside the cabin. You can tell the water to go up front. You can tell it to come out the side. You can tell it to go out the back. There's a bunch of different options. Got a sprayer up front that's super cool. I'll go ahead and show you guys that right now. So you got this guy right here, which if you look, it has like a rod that's connected to it. Now this goes to a handle inside the cab, and you can control which way you want to spray the water. So I think that's pretty rad. So with this truck being like 100% mechanical, you don't really need a battery. The only thing that the battery is used for is to power the lights on the truck, and that is it. So basically the alternator hooks up to this, and then there's a cable somewhere that runs off to inside the cab, where you got switches that control the blinkers, the headlights, the cab lights up top. So I don't know that I'll ever put a battery in this thing, because I'd imagine that almost everything I'm going to be doing with this truck is going to be here on the ranch, and it'll be during the day. So it might get to the point where I actually use it at night, and I do put a battery in it and run some other lights and whatnot. But for now, I don't think I'm going to need a battery. All right, so moving our way back a little bit. This stuff is pretty dirty. All right, so we got this brake chamber that's like just kind of hanging here, so that's definitely going to have to get replaced. So the truck was running inside the shop for about probably 4 or 5 minutes, and originally when it was up on the trailer, you guys could see where it was shooting out. This is where it was like originally shooting out and was getting the tank wet, but as it was running in the shop, you guys can see that it was not like spraying anymore, so it may have cleared itself up. I guess after sitting for 26 years, that's okay. So let's go ahead and hop up inside the cab, and I'll show you guys how bad this thing actually is. So first thing you notice, it's missing the handle that opens the door, so we may weld something onto here. Not sure on this one yet, might just get a vice grip on it. But as we make our way over this way, you can see that the floor, well, it's pretty much gone, so this is gonna have to need some work over here. The bottom section of the cab is completely rusted away. When you guys actually close this door, check this out. This whole part like wiggles back and forth, and then it's like barely holding on. So that's gonna be fun. And then as we climb up in here, you guys can take a look at this beautiful seat. This thing has definitely seen some better days. There is no seat over there. But then we have all of our handles that control all the valves right here. So let's go ahead and give those a whirl. So it's gonna be kind of hard to see some of this stuff, but I'm gonna do the best I can. So basically you have all these handles right here. So some of these valves are controlled by actual lever. Basically you have like this pipe or this tube that is a little bit larger than this one. And these are supposed to be able to like spin individually of each other. These ones are like rusted together. I can't get them to move separately. And then if you look at these two, you can see that I can move them individually of each other. They are not seized together. So I'm gonna have to figure out what's up with these two. So this is gonna be a little bit of work. I'm not a huge fan of how it just kind of flops around on here. I'm probably gonna rework the air hosing and like stick it up here, but basically these control all the air powered canisters for the sprayers on the sides, and then I think there's 2 on the back. Then as far as gauges go, well, there's not a whole lot on this truck. You have a water temperature gauge, you have an air gauge where the needle's broken off, you got oil pressure. This one does work. I haven't driven it enough to see if this one works. We got your wipers. This guy right here is just to like bring the RPMs up and leave them. This is supposed to be the engine shutoff, which is air powered, but I can't build up any air pressure in the system, so that doesn't work. This is to turn on the PTO to actually turn the water pump on. This will release your air brakes when we actually have them. I really got to figure out why that compressor's not turning on or why it's not pressurizing the system. So other than that, I think that's about it. The roof has a bunch of holes in it. This may be getting a Sawzall. At one point, this did have a CB radio in it. That's what that's for. It's got a nice fan right here. Yeah. So that's about it. Definitely gonna need a new seat. That one's pretty bad. And then these are the air-powered canisters that I was talking about, that once they're pressurized, they go ahead and open up and let water shoot out. Got one on this side, one on this side, and then there's another one down below, which is missing some stuff. I gotta figure that out too. This is where you fill it up. Basically, you put your quick disconnect right here, and then it runs up to the top, and it goes into the inlet spout up there. So this truck is definitely rough around the edges, but all in all, the bones are there. It runs good, and if I can get it to spray water, I'm gonna be happy. So I'm gonna run into town, go buy some air hoses, buy some fittings, and then we're gonna see if we can get this thing to pressurize. Now keep in mind, I'm just like a shade tree mechanic, but basically I'm gonna start at the compressor and then start tracing my way back to figure out where the air leak is. So right here's the compressor. This is the main outlet. I went ahead and disconnected the hose. You guys can see that it's pushing air, so that's a good sign. All right, well, back at it again today. I had to run into town, go buy some air hose. I got some air fittings. Hopefully we can get all the leaks plugged up. I'm sure there's gonna be some other small ones, but hopefully we can get this truck to build pressure on its own. So that way I can actually take this truck for a drive. I was like this close to doing it yesterday, but with no brakes, I was like, yeah, I better play it on the safe side just in case something gets out of hand. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these things patched up, then hopefully we can get this truck pulled out of the shop. So hopefully I can get this thing patched up, get it out of the shop, and then take it for a little test drive.
Hi.
Hey, did you find anything up there?
Yeah, I found a hole down here.
You found a hole?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so it's a plug that goes down inside. Maybe it's a little plug that shoots the water out.
Maybe. Do you want to take the camera in there and check it out?
Yeah.
All right. Don't drop it, okay?
Look inside the cable. It's actually a water truck tank. So let's see what this thing is like. This is the hole. Want to see it again? Yo, I'll put you guys down inside here. So that's what it looks like inside down the hole. Spider webs everywhere. I just had to go through one. Get out, I'm outside of the tank. I shut down the hole down here. I had to stick my head in there so they can see what it's like.
See you later. So I think I have most of the major air leaks fixed. You guys can see that I basically cut a section out right here that a squirrel had chewed. So put a nice little union in there. You guys can see that this is clamping a piece of hose off right here. It is leaking just a tiny bit still, but it's gonna be okay for now. The reason it's not fixed is because I don't have hose small enough for that. And then this one's gonna be kind of hard to see, but you guys can see that union right there. Biggest air leak that we had, well, one of the brake chambers, it's completely broken in half. So it was just like dumping air out here. So basically, I dumped out my random box full of different air fittings. And I've been digging through that for the last 30 minutes trying to piece together the 3 air hoses so that they still work for the other brake. But I'm determined to drive this thing today. So we're gonna go ahead and start it up. We're gonna let it air up. I'm gonna see what works, see if like the parking brake release works, see if the engine shut off works. There's a bunch of different tests that I need to run before we actually like pull it out of the shop, but let's go and get this thing fired up. All right, well here comes the moment of the truth. I'm gonna go ahead and fire this thing up and we're gonna let it build some air pressure and then I'm gonna see if I can actually shut it off from inside the cab. It sounds like it's going to. I mean, I definitely hear something, so let's go ahead and fire this thing up and then see if the shut off actually works. Here we go. So before when I would step on the air brakes, you just would hear just a ton of air blasting out, and now you don't hear anything until I release them. So I think they're doing what they're supposed to. Let's go ahead and do the shut off and see if it actually works. Bingo. All right, I think it's time to pull this thing out of the shop and take it for a little test drive.
Roll up a hair when you get it going. I'll pull this 2x4 out.
All right.
Uh-oh. Clear. Nice.
Yesterday it was just like,
yeah.
Yeah, it's not low anymore.
Huh.
Yeah, that door had a bungee on it for the trip down here.
Clear. A little lot to hang on to.
Yeah. Have to feather that clutch. We're good. I just gotta figure out how to get it back into low range.
Right?
Yeah.
What?
See that coal?
What?
It rolls coal. Oh.
Hit it. No, it did. Yeah.
Oh, a little bit. Was it white or black?
Pretty white.
No. Yeah. I don't know if
water in it?
It's kind of dirty in there, but
yeah, we gotta wash it out somehow.
Yeah, let me crawl in there, make sure there's no like rocks in there.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I'm putting water in this thing.
Alright.
Yeah, there's a lot of smoke over there. Hopefully the parking brake works.
Dude, brakes were good. Nope, nope.
Parking brakes don't work so good. I'll just put it in gear.
Alright, fair enough.
I guess we should see if the PTO actually spins. I didn't check that. Yeah, we'll throw some water.
Yeah, why not?
We're okay. Alright, well, we got one pine cone, piece of PVC. Ugh. Where are you at? I'm gonna be throwing stuff, so.
Yep, you're good.
Oh, there's a couple holes in this thing. Nothing too bad. Well, they're pretty big. I think that's all the big stuff. See how fast it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it leaks pretty
You
quick.
don't need a rear spray bar. It's
Yeah.
automatic.
So we got a couple leaks, not too bad. It's more towards the rear end. I'm out of breath.
Well,
Well,
there's that another valve over there.
I hope that's another valve. Oh man. Oh, that's a sprayer.
She's a spraying.
That back one's still spraying?
Yep. They're all off, but they all literally shut off at the same time. All back on.
All right, so overall, I think we're headed in the right direction. All the sprayers have water coming out of them because they're all in the open position. I can't figure out how to get them to close because the valve assembly that controls all those, I can't figure out where the air comes from. So I'm gonna have to pull it back into the shop, dig into it a little bit more. But the brakes kind of work, the parking brakes not so much. The PTO does work, so that's a big deal. This was not seized up. You guys can see the shaft spinning right here. So that's a huge step in the right direction. I'm so glad that thing works. The shutoff works, it starts up no problem. So basically all the bones are there. It's just gonna need some fine tuning, probably some new tires, and then I think this thing's gonna be up and operational. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this thing back down to the shop. Well, I'll probably let it drain and then we'll pull it into the shop. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and put the screws in this video. I would say that today was a success. The water truck is up and running. The only problem with it is that it's stuck in high range. And because it is stuck in high range, I can't get it into reverse. So that's why it's parked right there and not back in the shop. But before we go, my daughter has something to tell everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving!
If you celebrate Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. But thank you guys for watching. If you could do me a huge solid, like, subscribe, share this video with amigos, hit that notification button down below so you guys can see all the progress on the other projects that we got going on. And if you guys want to save a couple bucks on gas, don't forget to click on the upside link down below, and we will see you guys next time. Later.